Good Monday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new week, which means it's a brand new opportunity for you to do something amazing, and it all begins today. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Monday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich in today's Entertainment Spotlight. You've been part of my conversation with best-selling author Anne Rice, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 80. You're being part of our chat together today. Enjoy today's program. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Monday headlines. In national news, cries and candle scents over 100 feared dead after twisters. Workers on the night shift at Mayfield Consumer Products were in the heart of the holiday rush, turning out Christmas candles when a tornado closed in on the factory and the word went out to duck and cover. With Kentucky's governor warning that the state's death toll from the tornado outbreak Friday night in Mayfield and other communities could exceed 100, many are waiting in agony for news of their loved ones while the rescue effort grew bleaker by the hour. 40 of the 110 people who were inside the factory were pulled out soon after the twister struck. Rescuers had to crawl over the dead to get to the living at a disaster scene that smelled like scented candles. But by the time churchgoers gathered Sunday morning to pray for the lost, more than 24 hours had elapsed since anyone had been found alive. Kentucky was the worst hit state by far, in an unusual mid-December swarm of twisters across the Midwest and the South that leveled entire communities and left at least 14 people dead in 4 other states. The tornado that carved the path of destruction in Kentucky touched down for an extraordinary and potentially record-breaking distance of more than 200 miles. 11 people were reported killed in and around Bowling Green alone. In more national news, the Associated Press says inflation is painfully high, but some relief may be coming. Inflation is painfully high, says the Associated Press, but this hopefully is as close to bad as it gets. Consumer prices rose 6.8% for the 12 months ending in November, a 39-year high. Many economists expect inflation to remain near this level a few more months, but to then moderate through 2022 for a variety of reasons. And they don't see a repeat of the 1970s or early 1980s when inflation ran above 10% for frighteningly long stretches. Households could even see relief in some areas within weeks. Prices have dropped on global markets for crude oil and natural gas, which is filtering into lower prices at the pump and for home heating. That should keep inflation somewhat in check, even if prices keep rising elsewhere in the economy. To be sure, economists say inflation will likely stay higher than it was before the pandemic, even after it eases through 2022. More often than not in the last 10 years, inflation was below 2%, and it even scraped below zero during parts of 2015. The bigger danger then was too low inflation, which can also lead to a weak economy. This is not going to be an easy fix, said Nella Richardson, chief economist at ADP. Just because inflation will eventually moderate doesn't mean that prices are going to go down. They're up. We're just lowering the rate of change, not the level of prices. Most immediately, Americans should see swings in inflation via energy costs. In more national news, Fox anchor Chris Wallace makes his own news with move to CNN. Veteran anchor Chris Wallace has left Fox News after 18 years for CNN, dealing a significant blow to Fox's news operation at a time that it has been overshadowed by the network's opinion side. Wallace delivered the surprising news that he was leaving at the end of the Fox News Sunday show he moderates, and within 2 hours, CNN announced he was joining its new streaming service as an anchor. CNN Plus is expected to debut in early 2022. It is the last time, and I say this with real sadness, we will meet like this, Wallace, who is 74, said on his show, which airs on the Fox network and is later rerun on Fox News Channel. 18 years ago, the bosses here at Fox promised me they would never interfere with a guest I booked or a question I asked, and they kept that promise, he said. Wallace was a veteran broadcast network newsman working at both ABC and NBC before the late Roger Ailes lured him to Fox with the promise of his own Sunday show. He was the first Fox News personality to moderate a presidential debate, doing it in 2016 and 2020. In entertainment news, best-selling author Anne Rice dies at age 80. Anne Rice, the novelist whose lush, best-selling Gothic tales reinvented a genre, has died. She was 80 years old. Rice died late Saturday due to complications from a stroke, her son Christopher Rice announced on her Facebook page and his Twitter page. As a writer, she taught me to defy genre boundaries and surrender to my obsessive passions, Christopher Rice, also an author, wrote. In her final hours, I sat beside her hospital bed in awe of her accomplishments and her courage. And finally, in more entertainment news, the box office gives way to West Side Story leading the weekend. The top 5 movies over the past weekend were West Side Story with $11 million, Encanto with $9 million, Ghostbusters Afterlife with $7 million, House of Gucci with $4 million, and Eternals with $3 million. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's on time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Focus on quality to make all your life experiences more meaningful. It is not the quantity of time that matters. It is the quality of the experience during every life moment. One fulfilling experience can eclipse many empty moments. Every minute is an opportunity to love yourself and others. Take quality time to develop self-confidence, self-respect, and exhibit courage. When you focus on quality foods, a modest portion will nourish and satisfy you. Also, a few hours of deep sleep can leave you feeling more refreshed than an entire night of interrupted sleep. Today, focus on quality rather than quantity to make all your life experiences meaningful. And remember, enjoy the day.
We are part of my conversation coming up with best-selling author Anne Rice in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Best-selling author Anne Rice died at the age of 80 on December the 11th. She joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, though, to talk about her extraordinary journey and career. Here's a bit of our conversation.
What has it been like for you, Anne, though, to see the way that you have fans that cross all generations, all nationalities, really literally around the country? What has it been like for you to see the way that they responded to these books?
Oh, it's been thrilling, really. I tend to be a polarizing writer. People either love my work or they hate it. Mm-hmm. And so naturally there have been some scathing reviews of Prince Lestat, but by and large I think the readers have been wonderful in the way they've received this book, and the reviews are fascinating to me. It's a book that's big in scope, lots of characters, lots of stories, lots of stuff going on, and people like various things about it, and they don't like various other things about it. So it's an education, actually, to be hearing all the response. But it's great. I'm really having a wonderful time.
I know you've been staying quite busy, and I thought about for myself. I know I've been reading you. I was trying to go back when I was prepping for this segment with you, Anne. I've been reading you now. I know for 20 years for myself, and I remember the first time I was introduced to a book by Anne Rice. I was so fascinated, not only by the way that you're able to bring these characters to life, but how you make us feel as though we're there. Of course, you're already celebrating a big anniversary this year as well, with the anniversary of the movie Interview with the Vampire. Mm-hmm. Could you have imagined, though, that book would have the life that it's had?
No. I mean, in the beginning of my career, I really had no idea. I hoped. When you're a struggling writer and you're doing your first novel, I think it's great to dream. And I dreamed that the book would live forever, of course. I wanted to be writing a great classic, back there in the bedroom at my makeshift desk on my old IBM typewriter. And I am still in amazement of the whole thing.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have to get on tomorrow's more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.